Finally freed from the clutches of Eugene Melnyk and his ineptitude, the Ottawa Senators are still seeking new ownership apart from the Toronto Maple Leafs. The hope is that this ownership group will lead a new era of Senators hockey. The Ottawa Senators have a lot of people excited entering the 23-24 season, but I am not one of them. Ottawa Senators, here's why I hate your stupid fucking team.
I never heard of half of these guys, and the ones I do know are way past their prime.
Most of these guys never had a prime.
This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
Now look, I won't lie, the Senators are loaded with some good young talent like Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Thomas Chabot, Drake Batherson, Shane Pinto, and Jake Sanderson. Ottawa also wisely supplemented this group with veteran leadership like Claude Giroux and Jacob Chychrun, who bring winning reputations from stellar organizations like the Philadelphia Flyers and Arizona Coyotes. But although Ottawa has a lot of good pieces in their top six, their biggest problem, in my opinion, is depth. That's why they were forced to rescue Dominik Kubalik in the DeBrincat trade and try and see if he has anything worth salvaging. But guys like Matthew Joseph, Parker Kelly, Mark Kostelic, and Zach McEwen really don't inspire much interest. They'll serve their purpose well as cheap depth players, but they're not going to add a whole lot offensively to this team. On the back end, it's the exact same problem. You've got a top three, Chabot, Chychrun, and Sanderson, who are really young and really good, but outside of that, it's a mismatch of unproven young guys like Eric Brandstrom and Artem Zub, with older past their prime guys like Travis Hamonic. But really, the big problem for the Senators is in between the pipes, where they haven't had a lick of stability since the Hamburglar was back there stealing games. They're trying to still make Anton Forsberg a thing, bless their hearts, but they did decide to go out and get somebody to at least compete with Forsberg for the net, even if it's not much of a competition.
Anybody got an idea?
It's DJ Smith, the most nondescript name for the most nondescript coach in the NHL. This guy could be wholly AI generated for all the rest of the NHL knows. Pictured here seeing his wife walk into the bar during boys' night, Smith is a former tough guy who coaches like he's anything but. He's been here for 4 years and never led the team to a winning record or a playoff appearance. With Melnyk and his mannequin come-to-life GM Pierre Dorian, Smith never had to worry about justifying this mediocrity to anyone. Quite frankly, most of us forgot he worked there.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the new guy.
Senators had an entire year with Alex DeBrincat to convince him that this young, exciting core they were building would be enough of a reason to stick around and lead them to glory as their number one forward. He promptly bolted at the first chance he got and also handcuffed Ottawa so bad that they had to trade him within the division for pennies on the dollar. So they get to watch him kick their ass 7 times a year. In return for trading DeBrincat, they did manage to snag the aforementioned Kubalik and little else. Ottawa also did manage to come out the winners of the Vlad Tarasenko sweepstakes as he enters the Alex Radulov play for 20 different teams at the end of his career. So enjoy the 50 to 60 points he nets you before he bolts to Boston next year. Sens also added Jonas Korpisalo to be their starting goaltender, which is like taking your cousin to prom. Sure, you're there, you're not going alone, but goddamn are you missing the entire point. Korpisalo did look good playing for LA last year, so Ottawa's hopeful he'll be able to right the ship. However, they're also basically ignoring the previous 2 to 3 years in Columbus where he was basically Martin Jones getting yanked constantly for Elvis Merzlikins. Just saying you might want to have somebody else as an option. The Sens also didn't manage to add anybody in the draft because they shipped off their first round pick in last year's Chychrun trade, but if it's any consolation, Arizona wasted that pick, so don't worry.
You gay Irish fireman, you're okay, but you I do not like.
I'm not incredibly high on their forwards other than Stützle, who's an absolute beast, but I am very high on their defense. Chabot and Chychrun as a top pairing is scary and something that most playoff teams would take. Sanderson just got a very good value extension, and him as a second pairing anchor is nothing to sneeze at. So I really do like how they are building out their roster with a lot of good young players up front, and then having them filled out by depth players and older vets.
All right, Raven. You really told that Shelly off.
You know what? I don't entirely hate this team and its direction. Are they a surefire make the playoffs team? No, but I definitely think they'll be in the hunt down to the last week of the season. And if they do manage to add one solid goaltender, this team could shock the East and win a round or even 2 in the playoffs. Ottawa Senators positivity. Who'da thunk it?